Hey guys, welcome back. This is Allison Unfiltered, and I think it's going to be a pretty damn unfiltered day because I have got some things on my mind that I have to get off my chest, and I'm not sure where else to do it but here. And I have to remind myself that this platform, this is for me. This isn't about you. It isn't about my kids or my family. This is about me. And I guess it can be about you if there's something that you take from it, right? So I'm not normally a political person. I don't like to talk about, it's not that I don't like to talk about politics. I just feel like every time we talk about politics, it's like doomsday and dread and the world's falling apart and I mean, I get it to a degree it is, right? But I'm also a very firm believer in what you watch, what you listen to, what you take in is very much what comes out of you, right? And it affects you. It affects how you think. It affects how you approach people. It affects how you think about people, how you talk to people. It affects everything. So I'm a firm believer that if you bring good things in, right, it's good things that are going to come out. Um, so like I said, I am not fond of politics, but I also think there's a time and a place for things to be said, and this is definitely going to be my time and place. Um, had a conversation with two of my children, and two of my children voted for this shit show that we have going on right now in the past few years. And basically their votes, and I think I've talked about this at one point, but their votes counteracted, mine and my husband's votes. And it was their first time to vote ever. And it was a popularity contest at that point, right? Do everything you can to not let the opponent win, right? And I asked these kids, these young men, they're still my kids, right? But I asked these young men, like, are you enjoying what's happening in the world? And they're like, no, it's terrible right now. We can barely afford to live. We can barely survive. It's hard, right? Okay. Well, let's talk about this because this is what you voted for. And they're like, this isn't what I voted for. And I'm like, oh no. Oh, contraire, mon frere, this is exactly what you voted for. You wanted higher wages, right? Well, guess what, buddy? Did you really think that you were going to take money out of the pockets of the top dogs of the companies? No. If you want higher wages, it's going to come out of your pocket. Like, how do you not know these things? How do you not think, like, is Reddit all you do and listen to? Are you kidding me? Like, there's so much more to life than Reddit. So if anyway, I'm not even going to get into that. But this is what you voted for, guys. You voted for this inflation. You voted for, higher pay because you think you think that unskilled you're worth more than someone who was extremely skilled 5 years ago. That's the thing that I have a hard time with, right? Is that when I was working for a bookkeeper, a CPA here as a bookkeeper, I made pretty good money. I made $22 an hour. I mean, that was pretty good, considering when I started out, I only made, I don't know, $4.25 an hour maybe at the daycare that I worked at in high school. So 22 an hour, that was pretty good. I mean, I was raising two kids on $12.50 an hour. So, I figured I'm making it in the world, right? That's almost $50,000 a year. And what I'm finding is that this generation that's coming up has expectations of $22 an hour for no skills. And like you haven't gone to a trade school, you don't know anything technical, you haven't finished college, and I'm not saying college is the end all be all, right? Because I didn't go to college. Um, but right, you grow into that skill, and I was in my 40s before, or late 30s before I was making that kind of money. I was in my 40s, actually, early 40s. So why is that expectation there, right? And if you thought that making higher pay was going to affect the Walmart people at the top, you're crazy. Like, you're living in a dream world, because it's not going to affect them. They are going to raise prices everywhere that they can to get more money out of you. So you wanted higher pay, right? Now you pay more for milk, bread, eggs. Let's not even get on the subject of eggs. But all your groceries are 10 times higher. All your gas is 10 times higher. So what did it get you getting higher wages? Absolutely nothing. You're in the same position now as you would be if you made $12 an hour. But what it did do is it hiked inflation. It hiked the housing market, which is absolutely ridiculous. I mean, the fact that, and this is Tyler, Texas, and I grew up here. The fact that a 1-bedroom apartment is over $1,000 a month is freaking the stupidest shit I've ever heard of in my life. I mean, I'm talking like, we just moved my mom into an apartment, and that shit still has popcorn ceilings. Like, she had a 2-bedroom apartment in Dallas. I understand it was like 10 years ago, but it was like less than that. It's like $900 a month for a 2-bedroom. Like, what have we done to this world? All these people bidding on these houses and raising all the value of our home. What are you going to do when it crashes, right? I drive down the street, and there's a row here of apartments that are considered lower income apartments, right? And all bills paid kind of apartments. And these places are going for $800-900 a month. And I'm thinking, back in the day, not too long ago, a few years ago, actually, these apartments were like maybe $500 or $600 a month. How in the hell are people affording it? What are y'all doing to survive, right? I mean, fortunately, my husband has a good job, and fortunately, I have an incredible business. It's not near what it used to be, but it's still pretty dang good, you know. But how do people that don't have that do it, right? They have to figure out a second stream of income. So, I'm floored, because there's so many people that are going into credit card debt over this now. What are we doing to our society? What did we do? What did you vote for? And why? And is this what your expectation was, to totally screw the world? Because that's what you did. And that's how I feel about it. And how I feel about it has no bearing on anybody but me, right? If you don't like this, you can turn it off, and you can not listen and not share. But I feel like there's so many people that don't say anything, because it's not worth arguing with the ignorance and the stupidity, right? But, and I'm usually one of those people, it's not worth the argument. But I think it's time for some change. And I pray to God that change is coming. But at this point, being in a banana republic, I don't even know what's going to happen now. I mean, this is just the stupidest shit ever. So that's the number one thing I wanted to bitch about. That's on my mind. Second thing on my mind. Listen. I'm in the health and wellness business. It's not a secret. We know it, right? And I know that when I got started with the biggest kid that we had, it was like $500 back then. $549 is what it was. And I remember thinking, how am I going to pay for this, right? Well, I knew how I was going to pay for it. I had the money in savings, but I didn't really want to spend that money on that, right? I wanted to save that money for vacation or a cruise or all the things, right? And take my fat ass on a cruise. That's what I wanted to do. But I bit the bullet and I spent the money for myself. And I'm going to tell you, that's the best damn $549 I've ever spent in my freaking life over anything, over any vacation, any gift, any car, anything. It's the best money I ever spent on myself because I got my health back. And I'm going to live a long, healthy life because of that $549 I spent. Not to mention, we changed our insurance. We're not sick anymore. We don't go to the doctor, all those things, right? And I hear it all the time. Oh, I can't afford it. Oh, I can't pay that. And then I look at these people on Facebook and guess where they were? A Taylor Swift concert this last weekend. I know how much those tickets are. I'm not stupid. Okay. And I know how much the parking was for that concert because I know people that went. And let me tell you something. If you can afford Taylor Swift concert tickets with the parking, then you can afford to get your ass healthy, right? And it's a matter of priorities. Maybe you're not ready. Maybe it's not what you want. But what is your other alternative? What's your option? I guess your option is to lay in a hospital bed so overweight that you can't roll over. So bad off with diabetes that you have to have your foot cut off. I mean, what in the world is happening? Y'all, I just don't understand. I look around and listen, I am not by any means skinny, okay? I am 75 pounds less than I was 6 years ago. But I'm not skinny. And I'm not talking about getting skinny, okay? I'm talking about getting your ass healthy. And there's a huge difference. So I'm not body shaming because I still got a little junk in the trunk, a little fat on my ass, and I'm okay with that, right? I'm totally okay with that. I like having a little meat on my bones. But I'm not grossly obese like I was. And I don't have the health problems that I had before. So what is your life worth to you? Is it worth some changes? Or is it worth us, spending money on some changes in your health and that can affect you long term? Or is it worth a Taylor Swift concert? I'm honestly blown away by that because there's so many people, oh, I can't afford it, but yet the next week they're on a Disney cruise. Oh, I can't afford it, but the next week, they got their hair did. Oh, I can't afford it. But I see you. I see you eating out. I see you spending money. And that's the thing, like, open your bank statement from last month and add up all the shit that you spent money on that you didn't need to. And there you'll find plenty of money so you can get healthy and take supplements and follow a plan and something that will teach you how to live differently for the rest of your life so you can still indulge in things. You can still enjoy the cake. You can still enjoy a burger every once in a while and pizza, but like, what are you putting in your bodies? Y'all don't even realize what's in it. And my favorite thing is when someone says, oh, I'll have to research the products. Okay. Did you research that last chocolate chip cookie you put in your mouth? Did you research the last drive-through that you went through? Chances are no, it's just an excuse, right? Oh, like you tell somebody, oh, listen, so-and-so brought a cake and it's in the break room. Oh, okay, I'll go eat that, right? But then you introduce natural supplements to someone and all of a sudden they're a researcher. Y'all, come on. I can say these things because I did the same thing. I did the same exact thing. And the reason was because I wasn't ready. But when I went to the doctor and he told me I was borderline diabetic, my first thought was, oh shit, I'm never going to be able to eat jelly beans again. I ate a whole bag last weekend. You know, like that was my fear. Like I wasn't going to be able to eat candy. I wasn't going to be able to enjoy the things in life. And so I had to get this under control. I had to figure something out. You know, I've got a family member that is I'm worried they're going to cut his feet off. And what's he going to do then? You know, he's so swollen. He's so like, okay. You know how you hear how like so many people have autoimmune diseases now? I don't know if y'all knew this. And I might be pulling facts out of my ass right now, but the thing is, like, this is what I do for a living, so I see it, I hear it all the time. 90% of the people that I talk to that say they have an autoimmune system are 50 plus pounds overweight. Or they have an autoimmune disease that they're 50 plus pounds overweight. And do you know that if they lost that 50 plus pounds, all of that autoimmune bullshit would go away? I mean, losing the weight is a game changer. So why do you look around and see everyone overweight? Y'all, it's our kids too. Like, what is happening? What are you allowing in your home that's making your kids overweight? Listen, I'm shocked that the way that, and once again, I can say these things because I was there, right? I am shocked that my kids are not 300 pounds. Well, one of them is almost 300 pounds. But that's a whole nother story. But I am shocked that that happened way after, like, growing up in high school. But I'm shocked that the way that we ate and the way that we taught our kids to eat, for the longest time, I'm shocked that they're not all 400 pounds. Seriously. I mean, it's unbelievable. And I worry about our two youngest because they, you know, I mean, they try for protein and veggies a lot, but they still eat a lot of carbs. They're growing teenagers, right? But that's going to catch up to them one day, and they got to figure out a different way to eat, right? I don't know. I guess my point of this is you have the opportunity to do something about it rather than sit and wallow in it, or wait until something traumatic happens that, you know, you have $50,000 in medical bills. Well, that's going to seem like a whole lot of freaking money compared to $500 that you could have spent to get your shit together, right? I mean, it's not that hard. It's not that bad. I mean, does it suck some days? Sure. When you drive by Little Caesars and you smell it and you're like, I could use one of those pizzas, right? But then you eat the pizza and you feel like shit. And you're like, why did I even do that? And then you beat yourself up about it. So it's not worth it. We have a problem in this world. And the only way to fix it is for it to start with you in fixing it for yourself. Okay? So figure out how to do that. I don't care if you let me help you. I don't care if you go through someone else. I don't care whatever you decide to do, but do something for your health, because you're going to wish you had in 10 years. You're either going to spend money on your wellness or you're going to spend money on your illness, and the choice is totally yours. Okay. Last thing I want to say about something. And I'm going to try not to drop the F-bomb. What the freak is happening to travel, right? So we're going to Vegas. my least favorite place in the whole world because I cannot stand the smell of weed. I hate the smell of weed. I hate it with a passion. It's the nastiest smell up there with coffee to me. I can't stand it. And I can sniff it a mile away. I can smell it a mile away. That's how sensitive I am to it. I was a cocaine person. I never liked weed at all because I couldn't stand the smell of it. So we're going to Vegas, and it's for our convention with Xyngular, and I'm excited about going, but I hate that it's Vegas. I'm like, okay, what restaurants at the hotel that we're staying at are on location, so we don't even have to leave the hotel to venture out into Vegas, because I'm not even interested in walking the strip. I mean, that was just, we went to, what was it, Fremont Street. That shit's a joke. There's so much human trafficking there that it's just blatantly obvious. And I know someone told me the pot smoke is not as bad as it used to be because they have signs up now saying you can't smoke, but they do it anyway, right? And I'm not a gambler, right? So I'm not going to go lose money. I'm a tightwad, so I'm not going to go into the casinos because, one, I don't want to smell like an ashtray when I come out. I used to smoke. And see, these are the things, like, you think I'm being judgy, right? But I've done all of these things, right? I used to be a smoker. I was a smoker for like 14 years and then I quit. And I don't want to be around it and I don't want to smell it. And it's like the whole reason I don't even go to my own father's house because he refuses to not smoke outside when I'm there. And I refuse to go and be subjected to that, in that smoke and smell like an ashtray. I mean, there's very few situations where I will tolerate that. And a casino is not really where I want to be. So I'm not interested in gambling. I'm not a big drinker. I'm not going to Vegas to get trashed. I'm sure there are people who will, and it makes me feel really sorry for those people who act like that and can't control themselves. Especially when it's a business trip, right? And especially when they have people on their team watching them, and they're a big leader in the company, and they're in the top 1% of the company, and they can't even walk back to their room. They're so trashed. I mean, oh my God, how pathetic that it is. It's pathetic. That's what it is. And I'm just going to call it like I see it. That's a choice. Getting trashed like that. Totally a choice. So anyway, I totally got off on a tangent. For us to go to Vegas, the flight there is $368. Okay. I mean, you used to be able to fly on Southwest for $79 from DFW or from Love Field to Vegas, right? And I understand prices have changed, get fuel's gone up, the cost of labor, all that stuff. So they're passing that. Oh, imagine that, voters. They're passing that on to the passengers. American Airlines isn't eating that. I'm eating it. So thank you so much for your vote. For us to be able to come home and it not double the cost of our flight. And when I say double, I mean like it was going to be $768 to come home at 10 a.m. on Sunday morning. Okay. We're leaving at 1 a.m. on Sunday morning on the red eye. And that's the only way it will cost the same to fly there as it does to fly back. I am in shock. Like, who the F are these people jacking up these prices? Like, that is freaked up. Like, more than you could ever imagine. That is so messed up. Like, what an asshole do you have to be to jack up prices like that so people can't even get home? I mean, why? What's the point? You do it on purpose because you know they have to get home and you know they'll pay it anyway? That makes you an asshole. Seriously. Like, that makes you, like, the bottom of the barrel asshole. I don't understand that. And there's the crazy thing is there's people that'll pay it. And if you guys would just stop paying that, they would stop charging it. If they were like, oh, well, they're not buying these tickets. They're not doing this stuff. Like, If you guys would just stop paying for it, they would stop charging it. Seriously. We have to get a handle on what's going on in the country instead of just shrugging your shoulders and go, okay, well, I'll just pay it. What if you didn't? What if you fought it? What if you, I don't know. I don't know what we can do to make a difference right now, but plane tickets are stupid. We're going, I think I said something a couple of podcasts ago. We're going to Mexico this summer. It was $2,400 to fly 4 people to freaking Mexico. Are you kidding me? Those used to be the cheapest flights on the planet. And now it's over $600 a ticket per person. And this isn't even on like a prestigious airline. This is on like a shit airline, right? But we got to get there. I don't understand what's happening in the world. I don't understand where all this price gouging is happening, why it's okay, why it's being allowed. And it is absolute price gouging. Why are we allowing this to happen? What can we do to change it? Who do we need to talk to, right? I don't know. I think that's the biggest problem, is nobody thinks that they can change anything, so they just don't. They just shrug their shoulders and pay it anyway and go further into debt. But I refuse. I seriously refuse. I will make myself uncomfortable to not give more of my money away for my convenience. Because that's what it is. It's all about your convenience, right? So, anyway, that's what was on my mind. That was what was on my brain. And I'm sure there's some of you that are rolling your eyes. I'm sure there's some of you that are cheering this on, because this is truly, it's my channel and it's my platform. It's totally unfiltered. And I feel like it's been a little more filtered than it should be, because, you know, I'm not out to hurt anybody, right? But I want to be able to talk about and say what I feel about things too, you know? So, wish us some luck in Vegas. Like I said, I'm excited about going, but I kind of dread going. Oh, and you guys met Toothless last week. Say a little prayer for him, please, because he has a little bacterial infection on like one of his pinky toes. And if it doesn't clear, Gage took him to the vet. Oh, that's another thing. Holy mother of God. $175 for an office visit for a freaking lizard. Are you kidding me? Wow, they're making a killing off of that. So if the antibiotic doesn't help him, then they might have to amputate his toe. And okay, so let's talk about that for a second. How do you put a lizard to sleep? How do you amputate his toe? How do you give him pain medicine after? How do you know when he's hurting? How do you, poor blessed baby Toothless, I hope that never, ever, 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 I hope they don't have to take his toe. So you guys pray that the antibiotics work, please. Because I'm not sure what we do with a toeless Toothless. That was terrible. Gage is going to kill me for that. Anyway, you guys, enjoy your day. I hope you have a good one. And maybe this got you fired up. Maybe it got you thinking. I'd love to hear your thoughts. And if you're going to be, I don't mind a healthy adult debate, but if you're going to be an asshole, just don't bother, okay? Don't bother commenting, because there's no reason to be mean. We can all get along. We don't have to see eye to eye all the time. We can all have our own opinions and still get along. It's okay, right? The word offended makes me want to vomit whenever I have to say it, because I think it's the stupidest word on the planet. Like, what are you going to do? Absolutely nothing, right? Quit being a titty baby. Anyway, if you voted for it, own up to it, because this is what you voted for. Keep that in mind, and maybe you'll do a better job next time in voting. Not that the options are going to be much better next time, because it'll get stolen anyway. So, all right, peace out, homies. I'll see y'all later. You can find us on Allison Unfiltered on YouTube, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, the whole 9 yards. But I love you guys. Thanks for listening, and hope I didn't piss you off too much. Love y'all. Bye.